I thought about quitting. Like, it hurt so much, and I was so mad about the whole damn thing that I thought I could just turn around and go back down. Like, I don't have to do this. But then I thought, then I'll have to tell Jon I didn't summit, and then I'll have to tell our friends that I didn't summit. And so in the end, that thought of having to admit failure to other people was more painful than even the physical torment and the mental torment on the side of Mount Elbert.
Welcome to This Fucking Trail, home to brutally honest takes on Texas trails, hiking, hilarity, and all things adventure-y. I'm your MC, Jon, and I'm here to warn you that this podcast is not for young children or anyone with a sensitivity to swears or strong opinions. And now over to the hiking hostess with the mostest, intrepid explorer and affirmed potty mouth, not to mention my wife, Gabrielle.
Yep, that's me. Today is a trip report episode. An episode in which I review my most recent trips, complete with trials, tribulations, mistakes made, lessons learned, and adventures had. These episodes are meant to be a source of inspiration and education for anyone looking to take a similar trip. Enjoy!
And what trip are we going to be talking about today?
So we're going to shift gears just a little bit for the next couple of weeks, and we're going to actually talk about hiking in Colorado, because as of the time of this recording, it is July. And I don't know if you've heard or not, but in July, it's really fucking hot in Texas.
Yeah, I have to say, I just about break a sweat leaving my office. And not to mention stepping out the front door. So
there's really not much hiking to be done in Texas right now. None that's really safe or anything that I'm interested in. So for the past couple of years, since 2023, I've actually been going to Colorado over the summer and doing some hiking over there. So we're going to do a 3-part series on hiking in Colorado.
Well, aren't you just a spoiled hiker?
Yep, I've got my Texas season and my Colorado season.
All right. Now, before we get too far into this, we do have a favor to ask you, our dear listener. We're having a ton of fun recording these conversations, and we're hoping that if you're hearing this, you're having a good time too. So if you're getting something out of this, whether it's educational or purely entertainment, it would really help us out if you took a second and left us a 5-star review. Liking and following is great as well if you want to make sure you don't miss an episode, but the reviews especially do a lot to get the word out and let people know that this is a podcast worth listening to. And if you're feeling super fucking generous, head over to our Substack, see the link in the show notes, and you can support the show more directly there. Now, back to the episode.
All right, so we're going to talk about how this whole Colorado love affair started. So back in 2023... we were training for a competition called World's Toughest Mudder. Do you remember that?
I could not forget that if I tried.
Yeah. So really quickly, let me see if I can explain what World's Toughest Mudder is. It's an obstacle course endurance race where is it a 5-mile track, 5-mile loop, and there's various obstacles scattered across it. And you run that as many times as you can in 24 hours.
And over the course of the night, because you start like at noon and then you finish at noon the next day. So over the course of the night, they open and close various obstacles. So the course changes a little bit.
Yeah, it's a really fun challenge. If anybody's interested, you've got Google on your damn phone.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I wanted to run in a competitive category for this competition. So World's Toughest Mudder happened in November of 2023. So to qualify to run in a competitive category, I had to race one of their, what they called infinity races. And I had to complete 40 kilometers, which was 25 miles. And so they don't have these infinity races everywhere. So I'm kind of Googling where different locations of these infinity races are, and I find one that's in Colorado. I go, hey, my brother lives in Colorado. Okay, this race venue isn't too far from him. I guess I could go take a trip to Colorado, and then while I'm up there, I might as well do a little bit of hiking, and so it kind of just all fell into place from there.
Yeah, sort of.
Yes. Well, you'll remember from the previous episode that I learned my lesson about hiking before a competition, okay?
Right.
So for this go-round, I decided I was going to travel up to Colorado. I was going to give myself a couple days to acclimatize. I was going to run my race, and then I was going to go hiking.
Right. Naturally. Because if hiking before the competition is really hard on you, hiking immediately after the endurance competition will surely go much better.
Well, I gave myself a rest day.
Oh, yeah, that's true. How did this go?
Well,
how did the race go, real quick?
the race went great. I did my 40 kilometers. I got scratched the hell up. This is a pretty rough race where like you're crawling a lot. And so I had scrapes all over my knees. They were super swollen from crawling and scrambling so much. So that was actually kind of painful to move afterwards, but I qualified to run competitively.
Yeah. I think maybe this might be the catalyst that caused us to buy knee pads for the actual World's Toughest Mudder.
I think so.
Well, anyways, no one cares about Tough Mudder. Let's move on. So you are super beat to hell.
Yeah.
And you've got a hike planned.
Yeah, so we had some friends who had spent some time in Colorado hiking, done some what's called So Colorado has, I think it's 58 mountains that reach an elevation of 14,000 feet or more. And those are called 14ers. And it's a big thing for hikers and for Coloradans to go hike these 14ers. And one of our friends had hiked some 14ers and told me that I should do it and all this. And so I thought, okay, well, I don't know anything about hiking in Colorado, so why not start with hiking a 14er? And so naturally, what 14er would you start with if you were gonna go hike your first 14er in Colorado?
Well, I mean, I feel like it's only logical to pick the highest possible one.
Absolutely. So that's exactly what I did. So the highest 14er in Colorado is called Mount Elbert. It's actually the second highest peak in the lower 48. Only Mount Whitney is taller than it.
Yep.
So it has an elevation of 14,433 feet. So that's kind of cool. So I thought, all right, well, I'm going to go do Mount Elbert. And I had to do a lot of learning about hiking 14ers. So for starters, I discovered that it's what they call a class 1 14er. And so a class 1 14er is basically an easy hike. Like you're not going to do any scrambling. You're not going to have to put your hands on the ground to keep your balance or climb up. You're just going to be able to walk up an easy path.
No crawling unless you choose to crawl for your own personal reasons.
Exactly. So yeah, the rating system goes all the way up to, I think, class 4. A class 4 14er, you're actually using true climbing gear hooked up to ropes and all of that stuff. So
it's kind of similar to like the class rating systems for whitewater.
I guess so. I guess these classes are on the Yosemite decimal system.
Okay.
For whatever that's worth. I'm sure climbers know what that means more than I do.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you, but it sounds very official.
It does.
Okay, so you did 25 miles of Tough Mudder. You're super beat up. You take a rest day, and naturally you feel completely recovered and ready to tackle Mount Elbert the following day, which is a Monday.
Yes.
And I actually remember this Monday.
You do?
I do. I don't remember what I was doing. I just remember what you were doing. We'll talk about why I remember it later, I suppose. But
all right. Well,
let's talk about the trail.
I hate doing out and backs.
Yes.
So this was really in my I hate out and backs era. So I decided I was not going to do an out and back on a 14er because that just sounded terrible. So I decided that I was going to go up what's called the standard route, which is the Northeast Ridge. So I was going to start at the Mount Elbert trailhead, hike up that. That has a round trip distance of 9.5 miles. So if you math that out, that's about 4.5-ish miles one way. And you gain about 4,700 feet in elevation. And then I decided there's another trail. It kind of almost makes like an upside down V if you look at a map. So if you go up the Northeast Trail, then I decided I was going to go down the East Ridge Trail, which is 5.5 miles one way. And then I was going to take the Continental Divide Trail to link them back up and hike back to my car. And so that way I could avoid doing one of those horrible out and backs.
And how long is the Continental Divide?
That was about a 3-mile hike.
Okay, so you added on intentionally about 4 miles to this hike in distance.
Yeah. My watch said that grand total I covered 15.34 miles over the course of 9 hours and 45 minutes. And I didn't gain all of this elevation, but I ascended a total of about 5,764 feet.
Right, because there's a little bit up and down on these trails.
Exactly.
So, okay, so we can safely assume that Colorado is no better at measuring their trail distances than Texas is.
Oh my God, it was terrible. Like, I thought I had all these distances and it was further than the fucking maps said it was going to be. So I did a lot of research. You know, hiking in Colorado is very different than hiking in Texas. There's a lot more considerations that come into play. So I really had to kind of be on my A game. I found that 14ers.com was really helpful helping me prepare, and so was a website called The Next Summit. So one of the really big things that as a Texan I didn't know is I learned that you need to summit a 14er absolutely no later than noon, because afternoon thunderstorms like to roll in, you know, after somewhere around noon, sometimes a little bit after, and you don't want to be 14,000 feet up in the air when that happens. You definitely want to be below tree line.
Right, yeah, if you're at 14,000 feet, like, does that put you into the clouds more or less?
I mean,
is the thunderstorm basically on top of you at that point?
I mean, I can't speak to that.
You didn't do it.
Because, yeah, I've never been in a thunderstorm up on top of a 14er, but you can see wispy clouds underneath you from the top of the 14er.
Okay, so safe to assume that big, heavy thunderstorm clouds are probably swallowing the top of that mountain.
Yeah, so not the place to be. So that was like, that really factored into my decision making. Like, I had to figure out, okay, how long do I think it's going to take me? Let's factor in extra time in case I'm wrong. Let's make sure that I'm going down by noon. And if I can't do that, I was willing to turn around because everything online made it sound so dangerous to be summiting later than noon.
Sure, yeah. I mean, if nothing else, all the water dumping down on slick rock probably is not super safe. But of course, there's lightning as well, which I never really thought was that big of a deal, but I've never lived in Colorado. And it didn't occur to me that this was like an actual life or death threat.
Yeah, especially as a solo hiker. So I think the stat is that about 90% of direct lightning strike victims do live, but it can knock you out.
Sorry, live where?
Like, they live. They don't die.
Oh, they don't die. Okay.
I could be wrong on that number, but I think I had seen that recently. But sometimes you need CPR to get your heart to start back up. And so as a solo hiker, I'm like, I don't have anybody to do CPR on me. If something, you know, I get struck by lightning and go out cold, my heart stops and, you know, whatever.
Right.
So I think there's some extra considerations for solo hikers in the lightning as well.
Yeah, and I don't actually know what the stat was for 2023, but I did happen to look up, and I believe 11 people died from lightning strikes in Colorado in 2024.
In Colorado by itself?
I think so. I could be wrong. I didn't write this down, which was stupid.
That's way more than I would have thought, actually.
So it might have... Certainly, at least 11 people got struck by lightning. So, like, it is a thing that happens to hikers. Now you're making me doubt. You're so surprised that I'm like, did I read what I thought I read? I feel like uncertain about it.
We'll put in a note if you're wrong.
Hey, quick interruption. So it turns out I said some real stupid shit when we recorded this episode, and just wanted to take a quick moment and correct that, or rather let Gabrielle correct that right now.
Hold on a second. I need to take a moment to gloat that you were so wrong.
My goodness. Okay. Moment of silence for me or for you to enjoy.
Okay, I've had my moment.
Yeah, Moving on.
Okay, so 11 people did not die in Colorado from lightning strikes last year. That's wrong. Wrong. You were wrong.
I was wrong.
Actually, it turns out that Colorado has had 25 lightning deaths from 2006 to 2024. They have the third highest fatality rate when it comes to lightning. But guess who's on the top of that list? Number 1 and number 2. It turns out that Texas is above Colorado in lightning fatalities from 2006 to 2023. 39 Texans have been hit and killed by lightning in that time. But up on top of that list, we have Florida. They are winning this competition that always seems to be going on between Florida and Texas, with 88 lightning fatalities from 2006 to 2023.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, categorically, I was just Incorrect. Here, I added another one next to the one because only one person died in Colorado last year.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, I was just wrong. The National Weather Service does say that on average since 1980, 2 people die and 12 people are injured by lightning in Colorado every year. So
I like those odds a lot better.
yeah, I mean, that is definitely a significantly less deadly situation.
Yeah. Speaking of odds, like if you really want to get geeky here, the National Lightning Safety Council says that your odds of being struck by lightning in a given year are 1 in 1,509,000. But the odds of being struck by lightning in your lifetime are actually much shorter, about 1 in 18,864.
It's actually kind of crazy that 1 in less than 20,000 people is struck by lightning at some point during their life. That feels like a lot of people, but I guess that just goes to show that lightning safety sort of does matter. Maybe not the most important safety thing you can think about, but certainly a safety thing you should think about.
So the National Lightning Safety Council has a list that's called the Deadly Dozen, and camping or hiking does make that list, hiking/camping. But it's down on the bottom of that list, or the middle, I guess I should say the middle of that list, really, with fishing, going to the beach, and boating being far more dangerous when it comes to lightning strike fatalities.
What sort of blew my mind is that actually farming and ranching activities are more dangerous when it comes to lightning than hiking and camping is. I guess, you're out in open fields and lightning rolls in. You might not always see it coming. I was just really, I was surprised, but then I thought about it and I thought, okay, I guess I can see it.
Gotcha. And my mind got blown. Actually, this is wild. Men account for 80% of all lightning deaths since 2006.
Yeah, no, that checks out.
Well, it made me feel a little bit safer as a woman hiker and backpacker. Okay, now my odds are even better. I need to run some woman odds to help me feel a little bit less scared of lightning.
Yeah, I suspect that your odds of being struck are significantly lower, as are your odds in a related statistic, your odds of doing stupid shit.
Oh yes, I'm much less likely to die in a search and rescue event. We're going to do a whole episode on that at some point. But men are much more likely to die in the wilderness, even when you account for the fact that more men are out there typically than women.
Right, yeah, it's not just a proportional thing. It's that, like, any given man is significantly more likely both to be struck by lightning and to die in the wilderness than any given woman.
Yep. So on that note, I think that wraps up this correction.
All right. So what we've learned here is that it's not important why we did this little interjection, and everyone have a great day. All right. Well, just and a quick note on the lightning. You mentioned treeline, and it's something that's probably really important for people to know about. So I happen to know this because you used the bivvy actually to do a little safety consulting on a hike in Colorado more recently. And so treeline, I learned, is roughly at 10,000 feet.
Yeah.
So if you are at 14,000 feet, and treeline is the safest, the highest safe elevation, if I can get those words out of my mouth, that you could be at. And ideally, you want to be below treeline, because even at 10,000 feet, as you know, it's still pretty sparse.
Yeah, it can be.
That means you would have to descend at least 4,000 feet, maybe more, to get to the safety of the woods in a lightning storm.
Yeah.
And that is not something you can do super quickly, especially if, you just climbed a mountain, you're exhausted.
Exactly.
You've got elevation effects, even if you're acclimatized. There's just less oxygen, right? How was the elevation for you?
Well, we'll get to that.
Okay. All right. Don't let me jump ahead. I thought it was kind of maybe a good thing to highlight some of the important things to know about lightning safety, so that if anyone listening goes and hikes, we've at least said,
you're stupid at elevation, okay?
Yeah. Might have to talk about the donut story at elevation later, but
that's on another. You're getting ahead here, man. We have a whole mini series on this. Okay.
All right. What's next?
Okay. So I also learned about altitude sickness. Since, some people don't handle altitude well, I didn't know how I was going to handle it. So some things to kind of look out for, especially as a flatlander, you're going up to Colorado and hiking. Some symptoms of altitude sickness can be headache. This is probably the most common symptom, nausea and vomiting. I actually saw a girl, like she must have been in her early teens, was puking on the side of Mount Elbert, but insisting she was going to keep going, and her mom was letting her. And I'm like, pretty sure as your mom, I would not let you keep going. I would make you turn around if you're vomiting and showing obvious signs of altitude sickness.
Yeah, that seems like a bad sign, but can't judge other people's decisions, I guess.
Yeah. Loss of appetite, which I definitely experienced. Fatigue, even with resting. Malaise, kind of just a noticeable unwell feeling. Trouble sleeping. Dizziness or lightheadedness. And you have to descend to alleviate symptoms. These are just the mild ones. We're not going to get into the serious ones. Listen to the mild ones. Turn around if you need to. Not everybody handles altitude super duper well.
Okay, so it only gets worse from there as far as symptoms go.
Exactly.
That's the baseline. Oof.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew all of those symptoms, or maybe I've forgotten them, but yikes.
Yeah. Altitude sickness doesn't feel great, for sure.
Do you know roughly like where people generally would start to feel that, or does it just vary a lot by individual?
I think it varies a lot by individual, but I actually don't know for sure.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of individual variation. It's probably not super useful to say what the average is because you'll know if you get it, I guess.
Yeah, if you know the symptoms, you should be able to realize it, or like somebody in your group hopefully will identify it, because it can be hard to identify it in yourself sometimes. So getting back to actually hiking up Mount Elbert, those first couple miles, I felt really good. It was really pretty. There's lots of aspen. There's lots of like little ponds and flowing water. And again, this was my very first time really hiking around in Colorado. It was just gorgeous. Really, really pretty, really fun. I'm feeling good, having a nice time. And then I got a little bit above treeline, I think. I had about 2.5 miles to go. And all of a sudden, it felt like I was like wading through molasses, where I could take about 20 steps before my legs were just screaming in agony, and I'm like gasping as if I've just run a 5-minute mile or some shit like that. And so I'd have to pause to kind of let the screaming in my legs abate and kind of catch my breath a little bit and then repeat. And it was like that for the last like 2.5 miles. I remember at some point I wasn't feeling great, and so I don't normally stop and sit down on the trail. Like when I'm eating a snack, I usually am walking. The only thing that makes me stop is like a bathroom break, typically.
Yeah.
But I thought, okay, maybe sitting down for a little bit will help. So I sat down on the side of this stupid mountain, got out my favorite snacks at the time, which were Famous Amos cookies before they changed the recipe and made them taste different, and a bag of love corn. And I ate those and I thought, okay, now I'm going to feel better. No, I did not feel better at all. I remember after having that snack and starting to walk again and realizing, oh, I don't feel any better, I picked up my phone and Snapchatted our friend group, the guy who had kind of told me about 14ers, and I was like, I think I might hate you right now. This is awful.
I'm sure he just laughed because
probably
that kind of pain is like, I feel like that, like he enjoys that. So
yeah,
you did not enjoy it a whole ton.
No, I was so mad that I couldn't walk further before I needed to take a break. I was mad that I wasn't enjoying the Sufferfest. I was mad that I wasn't moving faster. I didn't like any of it. And so I was just mad about the whole thing.
Yeah, I remember, I think you actually wrote something about how you just like could not enjoy this experience.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're kind of struggling through. Did the struggle continue on the way down then? Or I guess, do we want to talk about the summit? So you did actually summit Mount Elbert.
Yeah, I did. I forgot to mention, I thought about quitting. Like, it hurt so much, and I was so mad about the whole damn thing that I thought I could just turn around and go back down. Like, I don't have to do this. But then I thought, well, then I'll have to tell Jon I didn't summit, and then I'll have to tell our friends that I didn't summit. And so in the end, that thought of having to admit failure to other people was more painful than even the physical torment and the mental torment on the side of Mount Elbert.
Yeah, so you gutted it out. You made it up there. It took you, I think you said 2.5 hours for the last 2 miles?
I don't remember. It took me more than an hour to get up each last mile. My watch,
okay.
it like, I looked back at the track and it shows me you're moving or like your average pace for each mile. But those last 2 miles up Elbert and the first one down, there's no time listed. I assume because it took me so long. But I do remember like my watch beeps after a mile's gone by and it flashes how long it took you that mile to do that mile. And I remember seeing like numbers that were over an hour, those last couple miles going up.
Oh, okay, yeah. Rough stuff. Something I guess for me to keep in mind. At some point I'd like to go do a 14er. I probably won't start with Mount Elbert.
Well, I mean, you breezed up the Manitou incline. You did way better than I thought you would. So, I mean, that's not nearly as high of an elevation.
Not even close.
But you did do better than I thought you would.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I think you thought I was really going to struggle.
I know. I was ready to see you struggle and I was ready to enjoy it. And then you, like, kept up with me. I'm like, damn, fuck, shit.
I was keeping up with the Coloradans.
Yeah.
You know, I probably could have gone faster. And the funny thing is, of course, because you're like kind of mad that I didn't struggle more, but like I don't even feel like I'm in that good a shape right now, like cardio wise. My cardio is trash compared to how it has been in the past, just because of injuries and life things. And so
then I'm sure you'll be fine on your first 14er and breeze up it.
Well, I just hope I really don't think I'm susceptible to altitude, but that might just be an emotional belief. It will be tested by the physical world. Anyways, so it was hard. You got to the summit though. Yes. How was the summit? It's time to rest, relax, restore a little peace.
I got to the summit and there was quite a few people up there all kind of milling around, taking pictures, smiling. And I remember getting up there and looking around and just being so mad about how hard it was and how I didn't like it. And I didn't get this feeling of it was all worth it. Oh, or like, oh my gosh, I did it. I accomplished this big thing. Like, I at least thought I'd get like that sense of accomplishment.
Right.
No, I get up there. There's no feeling of you just accomplished something hard. There's no feeling of, oh, this was so worth it. There's no rejoicing, no triumphing. Like, I'm just fucking pissed off. Like, I barely took a selfie up on top of the mountain because I was just so mad about the whole thing and in so much pain.
Yeah. Well, and the pain didn't stop there, as I recall, because I was the recipient of some phone calls later that day.
Yeah.
So you had to make your way down, but you stuck to your original plan. You didn't go back.
Oh, yeah. I don't even think it crossed my mind to think about, like, doing an out and back. Like, I don't think that actually crossed my mind. I will say up on the summit, I got a couple compliments on my hat that I like to wear. Okay. Just for the record.
I said one thing one time about this hat looking a little bit silly, and we never let it go.
And let's see, was there anything else up on the summit? I don't think so. Okay. So yeah, no, didn't even think about going back the way I'd come.
Yeah,
I used to be a badass, like, and these weak thoughts didn't even cross my mind. These days, I'm like, what can I do to lessen the pain? But no, I stuck to my original plan. I went down on the other trail. Going down is a lot of work too.
Right.
Like, these Mountain Goat Colorado people, and even people from other states, like, I feel like they're super fast. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I cannot descend quickly. I am so slow descending. Like, you're not out of breath when you descend, so that's super duper nice. But your legs still hurt. You're still working really hard. And for me, I'm going really slow. Like, I tend to twist my ankle a lot. I don't have super strong ankles. So it took me almost an hour to get down that first mile. And so that's pissing me off too. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is, like, everybody just starts to descend and then boom, they're gone. I'm eating their dust big time. And doesn't matter how hard I try to go fast, I can't speed up my pace going downhill. And to make matters worse, then I started to need to go to the bathroom.
Above tree line, right?
Above tree line.
I remember this story too.
I'm like, oh my God, I think I need to take a shit. I'm like, oh, you God, I didn't have a wag bag with me, and there's no cover above tree line anyhow. Like, there's no place. You can't even pee. I don't know what people due to go to the bathroom on 14ers, regardless of whether it's number 1 or number 2, because there's just no place to do it and not get caught.
And it's been hours at this point that you've been above tree line.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And so then I'm like, my quads are on fire. I'm pissed off. And I'm trying not to shit myself as I hobble down this mountain. It was awful.
So did you make it to tree line before you crapped your pants?
I did. I did not crap my pants, and I did make it to tree line.
All right. I think everyone was wondering. You kind of left us hanging there. Okay.
Yeah, actually, of note, you shouldn't take a dump above tree line at the very least, because that tundra is very, very fragile. So digging a hole is really not great for the tundra. Walking all over the sensitive tundra is not great, as you're trying to find a discrete spot. And then at that high of an elevation, it actually takes human waste a really long time to decompose. So I now carry a wag bag with me anytime I do a 14er, so that way I can, take care of business. So yeah, I get back down to tree line. I had a raging headache. I think I was dehydrated. I wasn't eating. I took some those little enduro tablets. Those what are they?
Boy, now I've forgotten the exact name of the brand. I think it is enduro. They're like a salt tablet basically, but they're a sustained release. So you can take a couple of them and they'll continuously release sodium and potassium and magnesium into your gut for a period of hours.
Yeah. So I took some of those. They didn't help a whole lot.
Super helpful though.
Yeah, they're great. I absolutely love them. We'll put a link to them in the show notes, and maybe they'll sponsor us one day.
Who knows? Give us a call.
So yeah, I was just miserable going down. Didn't feel good. Wasn't high on a victory. It wasn't a super pretty trail going down. Even once I got back to tree line, I was like, this isn't super pretty here. I don't really think there was much remarkable else to talk about there.
Okay. Yeah. So you made it down the East Ridge, the Continental Divide, pretty much the same story. Just the trail back. Nothing of note to mention on that one.
Yeah. No. Fortunately, that one was flat, more or less. So that was really nice. So I did bang that one out pretty quickly.
That's a good note, at the very least. It's flat. Something to know in Colorado when trail is flat.
Well, more or less flat,
Yeah, more or less. Flattish. So
yeah, then when I got back to the car, I think that's when I called you, right?
I feel like you had called me from the trail first because you were in tears. I think maybe you were on the Continental Divide. I think you called me a couple times.
I don't remember that.
Well, anyways, we ended up on the phone and you were in tears.
Uh-huh.
Allegedly.
Saying, come on, you got to tell me, because I remember calling you once from the car and I was in tears.
Yeah.
But that's the only time I remember calling you.
All I really remember, because you were somewhat incoherent, and all I really remember from it is that your legs hurt so bad and you hated everything, and especially you hated that hike. I don't know that I took much else away from it, but it was very distinctive. It was very strong emotion from you, and I remember that because it's very rare for you to be upset having completed a hike.
Oh, so I called you from the car once I had finished it.
I think you called me and then called me back. I think you called me before you got to the car and then called me back. I think maybe you lost signal or something. Mm-hmm. I don't remember now. Anyways, what do you remember from that phone call?
Well, I remember laying in the back of the car and everything did hurt so bad and my eyes were burning. I remember that really distinctly. And I had rinsed them out thinking, I got sunscreen in my eyes. And that was not helping. I couldn't hardly keep my eyes open. They hurt so bad. So I was actually on the phone with you with my eyes closed, laying on the mattress in the back of my car, crying. And I was freaking out. Once the burning wouldn't go away, I was like, oh my God, did I sunburn my eyes? Am I gonna go blind? Are my gooders, are they polarized? Do they protect my eyes from the UV? Oh my God, what the fuck could possibly be going on here? So that's what I remember.
Okay, I guess I don't remember the thing about the eyes. I'm sure you said something about it, and I probably said, yes, the gooders are polarized.
I remember Googling that and learning that they were.
Okay.
And then I was like, well, maybe I didn't wear them enough. Maybe the sun rays got in through an angle and I'm going to go blind, So that was really horrible.
Yeah, I don't know what the problem would have been. Probably just sunscreen in the eyes.
I think I just got sunscreen in my eyes.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
Tough to get out.
So talking about this, I just now remember my original plan. I don't know if you remember this, because I only just now recollected this, was I was going to do Elbert on Monday and Massive on Tuesday.
That's right. You did have some delusions of grandeur.
So Mount Elbert is located very close to Mount Massive, which is the second highest peak in Colorado. So I'm like, well, I'm going to be out here in the area, so why not do Elbert on Monday and then Mount Massive on Tuesday? And I knew it was going to be a stretch, but I didn't realize how much of a stretch.
Yeah. So did you do Mount Massive on Tuesday?
No.
I think probably, given all that you had done, that was the right decision.
I went back the next year and did Massive, and we're going to talk about that in our next episode in this little mini-series.
Okay. All right. So I guess any final thoughts or takeaways from the Mount Elbert experience? Did you learn any life lessons?
I learned that needing to shit above on a 14er, fun. I wasn't sure if I was ever going to do another 14er after that experience. I easily made the decision to bail on Mount Massive. And in the days, weeks, and even months afterwards, I didn't know if I was going to do another one. It took me a long, long time to go, yeah, I think I will. So that was kind of interesting that it made such a negative impact on me.
Yeah. I mean, it really hit you hard. I was sort of surprised how hard it hit you because, I mean, we do, just as a matter of course, kind of a lot of hard things. I feel like you especially are always pushing the envelope, looking for like, what's the next hard thing that I can do that's harder than the last hard thing that I did? Or at least comparably hard to the last hard thing that I did. Mm-hmm. And generally, even when it's super tough or frustrating or painful, it's very rare for you to come back from one of those experiences and say, I never want to do that again.
Yeah.
So it really kind of struck me how much it hit you. And I actually did wonder if part of me thought, probably by next year she'll be over it and she'll decide to do another one. But part of me also wondered if maybe like you had found the limit and you weren't going to keep going.
Oh my God. Can you imagine if my limit was a 14er? Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
crazy to say it out loud now. But at the time, we hadn't done a lot of long distance hiking. We hadn't done a lot of endurance events. We had mostly done obstacle races and some adventure racing, some mountain biking and like hiking, like day hiking.
This was a day hike.
Yeah, but it's not Texas Flatlander day hiking. It's a whole different level of challenge, I think. Clearly.
Yeah, a challenge I was not prepared for, despite all of my Googling.
Yes, well, and I'm sure that the 25-mile obstacle race that you did 2 days prior to that had nothing to do with the amount of pain that you experienced.
Didn't even come into the picture.
Yeah, of course. Okay, well, I don't think I have any other questions for you. This has kind of been a fun walk down memory lane for me, at least. I mean, I spent that weekend at home, hanging out, playing video games.
Yep, getting fat.
Pretty sure I exercised at least once while you were gone. Anyways, all right. Well, do you have anything else you want to say about it?
That's it.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in to This Fucking Trail.
Happy hiking.